everybody, Sticks here with the Token Minorities, bringing you another deck on Pokemon TCGO, and today I am bringing you an updated version of a deck that I did, I think, like 6 or 7 months ago, and that is a deck centered around Giratina-EX and Reshiram. And before I get into the deck, just a reminder that if you like this video or found it helpful, please leave a like, drop a comment, and maybe subscribe. It helps us out a lot and lets us do more for you guys. And if you guys do decide to leave a dislike, which you are completely free to do, please let me know in the comments below why you left a dislike. That helps me really just kind of cater my content more towards what you guys want, because right now I'm just going off of the responses that I have received through comments and reactions from likes. So if you guys do decide to leave a dislike, please let me know why, so I can cater my content more towards what you guys really want to see. But anyway, like I said, this deck is centered around Giratina and Reshiram, and while I was talking right there, I completely forgot about the question of the day, which is going to be, what is your favorite Dragon-type Pokemon? I mean, this deck is basically completely centered around Dragon-type Pokemon. I mean, you still have like Shaymin, Flareon, and Hoopa, all of whom are not Dragon-type, but the main attackers and the main strategy of this deck is centered around Dragon-type Pokemon. So, I mean, of course, the question follows, what's your favorite Dragon type? If you had to ask me, I would say that without a doubt, my favorite Dragon type is Hydreigon. And now that is not only because of what it does in the TCG, which is really kind of cool because of its Dragon Road ability with the Hydreigon-EX. If there's any stadium in play, the retreat cost of all your Dragon type Pokemon is 2 colorless less. So not only is Hydreigon-EX very viable in Dragon decks, but also go back a little bit to the Dark Trance Hydreigon that could move around Darkness Energy and then Dragon Blast for a ton of damage. Great synergy in the Darkrai deck. And then even just, I think it was the Dark Impulse Hydreigon, where you could attach an energy from your discard pile to your active Pokemon, was really, really cool in that Hydreigon Break deck that I made a long time ago that I still maintain is one of the most fun decks I have ever used. Yeah, it wasn't the most viable, and Hydreigon has never been super competitive in the TCG, but it has had niches here and there. So I really do like this Pokemon. And then also goes back to when I was playing Showdown, and that Hydreigon would be on almost every single one of the UU teams that I ever made. That thing was just so ridiculously good and versatile. That's why Hydreigon is easily my favorite Dragon-type Pokemon, but leave your comment in the comment section below as to who your favorite Dragon-type is and why. But anyway, on to the deck. Like I said, centered around Giratina and Hydreigon. And Giratina, honestly, I think is one of the most underrated Pokemon in the entire meta at this point, because Renegade Pulse shuts down damage done to this Pokemon, prevent all effects of attacks including damage, so not just damage but effects of attacks too, done to this by your opponent's Mega Pokemon. So I mean, this meta is very, very heavy on Mega Pokemon right now, with like Mega Gardevoir, Mega Mewtwo, Mega Scizor to a lesser extent, but still somewhat Mega Scizor. So Renegade Pulse is ridiculously good, and then Chaos Wheel, 100 damage for 4 energy, which is very bad, but its ability, the effect of Chaos Wheel is so worth that high energy cost for only 100 damage. Your opponent cannot play any Pokemon Tool, Special Energy, or Stadium cards from their hand during his or her next turn. So Giratina, I mean, I will say this over and over again, one of the most underrated Pokemon cards in the entire meta at this point, and I think is just grossly disrespected in terms of what it can do. Yeah, Garbodor can shut it down, but if you're able to Lysandre Garbodor in, you can immediately knock it out with a Chaos Wheel, and then your opponent's Mega Pokemon can't hit you, and then your opponent can't even get another Garbodor powered up because you'll be Chaos Wheeling continually so that they will not be able to attack with your Mega Pokemon and knock Giratina out. I mean, that's just that specific matchup against Mega decks, but still, Giratina is so good. And then combine that with Reshiram with Turbo Blaze. Once during your turn, if this is your active Pokemon, you may attach a Fire Energy card from your hand to one of your Dragon Pokemon. That is a way that we can accelerate energy to Giratina-EX in order to be able to Chaos Wheel as quickly as possible. And when you combine that with Hydreigon with its Dragon Road, if you have a Stadium in play, Reshiram all of a sudden has Free Treat, so attach a Double Dragon from your hand to Giratina, Turbo Blaze and energy on, and then maybe hit a Max Elixir or maybe Turbo Blaze again, and then retreat into Giratina. I mean, with the double Turbo Blaze, you have to have an Escape Rope or a Switch in order to make that happen. But it's actually, you're actually able to pull that off more often than you think. You can get a turn 1 Chaos Wheel. I'm not even kidding. It's that cool, and this deck is so awesome. So really revolves around these 3 main guys. I'm also teching 3 Shaymins because Sky Field is really the main stadium that we're going to be using. So you might as well fill that up with Shaymins to get as much, well, not, what am I trying to say? Might as well fill it up with Shaymins to draw as many cards as possible. And also you can just discard them later if you decide to play down a Parallel City. So 3 Shaymins for draw support, 1 Flareon as a backup attacker in case we run up against Mega Gardevoir and they're able to just kind of stream Hex Maniacs to one-shot my Giratinas. Flareon can come through if you're able to power that guy up nicely enough. And then 1 Hoopa, because we have such an EX heavy deck that it would be very, 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 you'd be doing a disservice to yourself to not run Hoopa in this deck. As for the items, running a rather heavy line of switching items in terms of 1 Escape Rope and 2 switches. I know I normally run 1-1 or maybe just even 1 switch, but 1-2, that way you can Turbo Blaze twice in a single turn, which is incredibly beneficial for this deck. It allows it to get attacks off earlier and more attacks off and to power up things a lot faster. 3 Max Elixirs, you could run 4, however I decided to tech a few more cards into the deck, so I decided to get rid of 1 of the Max Elixirs just because we have Reshiram for its ability to be able to do similar to Max Elixir. I mean, it has to be in your hand as opposed to Max Elixir from the deck, but these two basically do the same thing, well, roughly the same thing. So Max Elixir, I decided to get rid of 1 of those for another card, but you can definitely run 4 if you want, just my opinion. 1 Super Rod to put some Pokemon and some energy back into the deck, 4 Trainers Mail to help with consistency, 4 Ultra Ball to get everything out, and of course 4 VS Seekers to reuse all of our supporters. And as for the supporter line, running 4-2 of N and Sycamore for draw support. That is just my line that I'm most comfortable with, and I know I've been saying that I want to start running 2 Lysandre in every single deck. However, in this deck I kind of ran out of space, and I wanted to show you all of the options for cards that you can run in this deck at once. So 1 Lysandre kind of got nixed for, I think I nixed the 2nd Lysandre for an extra switch. So you can definitely put in another Lysandre if you want. This is just, I mean, again, I wanted to show you all of your options with this deck. And then I'm also running 1 Hex Maniac to shut down abilities and 1 Pokemon Ranger to get rid of effects of things like Jolteon, because Jolteon would be able to shut this deck down. Otherwise, with Pokemon Ranger, you can just be like, no, and I'm going to hit you for a ton of damage now. So just a lot of different options. You can also run Olympia in place of 1 of these switching items. However, Olympia not only can help with Reshiram, but it can help heal. I don't know, I just find that a lot of times I don't want to bother with Olympia as my supporter for the turn. I want to use 1 of these guys instead, and with the free retreat from Hydreigon as well as my higher count of switching cards, I really don't need Olympia as much. So that's an option, I just prefer not to use it. Running 2 Sky Field and 1 Parallel City as my stadiums for this deck. Sky Field you want to play first turn because it lets you get everything out and set up as quickly as possible. And then Parallel City can really hamper decks like Rainbow Road and stuff like that. Specifically combined with Chaos Wheel, as your opponent will not be able to play stadium cards unless they play like a Pokemon Ranger or something like that. So really, stadiums and Chaos Wheel are an excellent, excellent combination, particularly Parallel City, just limiting your opponent to 3 bench spaces for the entire game. If you're able to keep the Chaos Wheel lock is incredible. 3 Fighting Fury Belt to boost damage of Giratina and also boost its longevity. 100 damage just isn't enough in a ton of cases, and you'd be surprised how much Fighting Fury Belt helps. It turns a bunch of 3-hit KOs into 2-hit KOs, and specifically with Shaymin, it turns a 2-hit KO into a 1-hit KO. So Fighting Fury Belt definitely needed in this deck. Also, we are running 4 of the Double Dragon Energy just because our main attackers are Dragon type, and Flareon can kind of power itself up with its Flash Fire ability, and then also Max Elixirs if you want. And then we are running 8 Fire Energy, because, I mean, that's what this deck really does run on besides the Double Dragon Energy, and that's what Reshiram has the ability to do. That's what Flareon can attack with, And I mean, it really just works out very, very nicely. If you want to run like 7 of the Fire Energy and then 1 more Lysandre, go ahead. I just prefer a little bit heavier of an energy count, specifically when I'm running Max Elixir. But again, that's just me, and that's my opinion. You can definitely make the changes if you want, and who knows, your deck list could be a lot better than mine. This is just the one that I am most comfortable with and the one I have tested the most. So yeah, I am done rambling. Let's just go ahead and see this deck in action. Alrighty, we have found one against Mazel with a water deck. So, I mean, could be Greninja with no Talonflame, but I mean, let's be real, Greninja with no Talonflame is not a very good Greninja deck. Well, especially in this format right now. But I mean, it could be a water box deck, and I could be completely wrong. Start off with an interesting hand. I mean, it's not bad, but it's not great. But again, not bad. So, okay, we will get a bunch of mulligan cards, and I mean, it really all depends on what I can Trainers Mail. Because if I can Trainers Mail, like Ultra Ball and Sky Field and stuff like that, then I'll be in a great position. But if I just Trainers Mail into a bunch of bad stuff, then I will kind of just have to go from there and maybe shred with Hydreigon. But either way, are going to get a couple mulligan cards, and well, I draw into all 4 of my Trainers Mail turn 1. That's really, really, really interesting. But okay, it's not a Greninja deck. My opponent is just running like a, looks like maybe a water box deck, but okay. I Trainers Mail into an Ultra Ball. That is great. Let's go ahead and Ultra Ball, get rid of a Trainers Mail and a Sycamore. I'm okay with getting rid of a Trainers Mail just because, like, Trainers Mails are more used to just get other cards that you need, and if you already have kind of what you need, then you don't need to really Trainers Mail, and it can just be an expendable card. So, okay, gonna grab Shaymin, Hydreigon, and Giratina. Gonna grab another Hydreigon because I need the free retreat. Let's go ahead and grab a Max Elixir. Start trying to get my Giratina powered up, but then I'm first going to Trainers Mail for the Sky Field, just that way increase my chances of hitting the Max Elixir, which still don't, so that's a little bit unfortunate. But what I can do is Sky Field. Now my Hydreigon has free retreat. Hopefully I will draw into some way to get a Reshiram active. And okay, there we go. So let's go ahead and Ultra Ball, get rid of the N and a Fire Energy to grab a Reshiram. Yeah, that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and play that sucker down. And yeah, this is going to be an incredibly explosive first turn for me, I think. I mean, it would have been even more explosive if I hit that Max Elixir, but it's not too huge of a deal. I can just go ahead and Super Rod back in that Fire Energy, because what I am going to do is via Seeker for my Sycamore, and then do a 0 discard Sycamore, sell 5 right now, and then, oh, if I can hit this Max Elixir, I can Chaos Wheel turn 1. There we go. Okay, guys, I mean, even starting a Hydreigon, that is how ridiculously, like, fast this deck can be. I'm able to start with a less than ideal starter and still be able to Chaos Wheel turn 1 just because of all I drew. I mean, look at that. 4 energy on my Giratina, turn 1. Thank you, Switch, Reshiram, and Max Elixir for helping me pull this off. So this is just ridiculous. I'm going to be able to 2-shot this Palkia. My opponent is not going to be able to play a Rough Seas to heal off his Palkia. And we're just in such a phenomenal position next turn. What I can even do is go ahead and play the Parallel City next turn, put myself down to... yeah, I could either put myself down to 5 or put myself down to 3 bench spots and then decrease the damage done by him. One thing about Parallel City, don't play it if you plan on attacking with Flareon, and in this case I obviously wouldn't because it's a water deck, and wow, that was a very quick match. My opponent couldn't do much of anything. I think I was just able to set up way too fast and apply way too much pressure. My opponent might not even have had an energy in his hand to be able to Aqua Turbo, so my opponent... wow, that was ridiculous, and that is just how fast this deck can be given the right cards, and just how consistent this deck can be as well. And I know it's not top tier, but it's still a very, very fun deck that can catch some other decks off guard and could potentially even be a rogue deck in the right hands. But anyway, let's go ahead and try to find another, hopefully longer match. Alrighty, we have found another one against Element with... could this be like another... if this is another Water Toolbox deck, then that'll be That'll be 2 that I've run into, and that will be the only 2 that I have seen in the past couple months of playing. I don't really see Water Toolbox decks too much anymore at all, but I mean, my opponent does play the normal type, obviously, so this very well could be a Talonflame deck. We do win the coin flip, so I am going to go first. I mean, you could go second to hopefully avoid a Talonflame, and okay, I draw something. This wouldn't be a bad hand if I had, like, a Hoopa. But actually, I mean, this if I had a Hoopa, then this would be an absolutely phenomenal hand. But unfortunately, I don't have a Hoopa, so this is a less than phenomenal hand. Let's see. I mean, I can kind of hope that my opponent doesn't start Talonflame, but what I think I'm going to do, actually, is try to snipe down the... Oh, there's a Froakie. Okay. Well, this is something. So what I am going to go ahead and do is Turbo Blaze onto my Reshiram, go ahead and just play the Fighting Fury Belt onto that, and then I think, I mean, I'm just going to end my turn right there. Like, I don't want to Sycamore away my other Fighting Fury Belt, and at this point, I mean, Reshiram can even attack. That's one thing I forgot to mention. If your opponent has, like, some EX blocks, like Regice, Reshiram can be a great backup attacker in a pinch, especially if you've been chaos wheeling all game and they haven't been able to play tools onto their Pokemon. And okay, I draw another Fighting Fury Belt. Well, I mean, draw all 4 of my Trainers Mails game 1 in my first turn. I draw all 3 of my Fighting Fury Belts turn 2, and I am just going to immediately Escape Rope to avoid that Bursting Balloon. Okay, take a knockout on a Froakie. Let's go ahead and Turbo Blaze onto this Reshiram. And honestly, like, at this point, I'm just going to have to get rid of my other 2 Fighting Fury Belts. I hate to do that, but it's just something that I have to do. And, okay, Ultra Ball, Ultra Ball, Ultra Ball. Nothing. Okay. Well, looks like I'm going to start powering up Reshirams and start attacking with Reshirams this game. I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world, because Reshiram can still hit for 120 with a Fighting Fury Belt, which is pretty solid. But you really want to get that extra effect from Giratina if you're going to be attaching 4 energy and attacking. But either way, we take a prize, we avoid the Bursting Balloon. I mean, I count that as a somewhat successful first turn. I would, like I said, like to get my Giratinas powered up, because that way I can prevent my opponent from playing things like Rough Seas, I can prevent him from Splash Energy and Bursting Balloons, all that stuff. Like the Bursting Balloons right here, being very, very annoying. Otherwise, I think I'm in a... otherwise I'm in a solid position. Like, if it was Reshiram, okay, my opponent just Lysander's in my other Reshiram, that's fine. If I can get a Hydreigon, then I have free retreat. Okay, please, Ultra Ball something. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Could grab the Switch, actually. Nah, I think the Ultra Ball is just a better play at this point. Let's go ahead and Ultra Ball, get rid of the N and the other Reshiram. I'm going to keep the Lysander in my hand just in case. Let's go ahead and grab the Hoopa to get, like, Giratina, Hydreigon, and a Shaymin. Yes, I would like to get some Pokemon. So Shaymin, Giratina, Hydreigon, boom. And I'm going to play the Hydreigon down so that I have free retreat into my Reshirams. And I'm going to keep this Reshiram active just so I have the... Actually, yeah, let's go ahead and... I could knock out the Froakie, which kills his deck. So if I knock out the Froakie, then his strategy is dead. But if I knock out the Octillery, then his draw is dead, and I might just go ahead and win from there. And okay, this is solid. Let's go ahead and Max Elixir, get a Fire Energy onto my other... Yeah, you know what? Let's just attack with Reshiram. Let's attack with Reshirams, because why the heck not? Let's retreat into my other Reshiram, and then, yeah, I am going to go ahead and Lysander in my opponent's Octillery. And, okay, my opponent just forfeits. Clearly, he didn't have anything else. I was debating that because beating a Greninja deck, if you can knock out all their Froakies that they have on the field, then you just win. But the way my opponent was playing, it seemed like he didn't have anything at all, and if he Abyssal handed into a bunch of good stuff, then he could have potentially set up at that point. I figured, okay, he has nothing in his hand at all. I think the better play, obviously I won, but I think the best play was going for the Octillery and knocking that out to keep my opponent from being able to draw any more cards. So, I mean, either way, we won, so all's well that ends well. Not able to get a good match, so let's go ahead and try to find another one. Okay, maybe this game will have some promise, but we are against... Oh, yeah, this game definitely has promise. Looks like we're up against a Darkrai Giratina deck, which could be a bad matchup for us, but if we are able to Chaos Wheel immediately, then I honestly think we will have the advantage, because this deck is specifically designed to get a Chaos Wheel off immediately, while my opponent has, I mean, they definitely have the ability to get a turn 1 Chaos Wheel off with Max Elixirs and Double Dragon and stuff like that, but their deck is more centered around Dark Pulse, while my deck is specifically designed to get a turn 1 Chaos Wheel. So if we can pull that off, particularly with going second, I think we will be at the huge advantage in this game. We do lose the coin flip, which is why I'm saying that we're going to be going second, and my opponent is taking a while to select whether or not they want to go first. Excuse me. Wow. And they do decide to go first. We do start with the Hydreigon again. Very less than ideal. But at the same time, I mean, I have a solid hand. Like, I have a very solid hand. I have the potential makings of a turn 1 Chaos Wheel with the Ultra Ball, the Max Elixir, the Energy, the other Ultra Ball, the Trainer's Mail. So, I mean, I have what I need in order to be able to pull it off. So I think I should be good to go, potentially. But we do start with the Hydreigon, which obviously, like I said, less than ideal. If we'd start with the Reshiram, that'd be even better. But, whatever. You saw in the first game, I started with Hydreigon, was still able to pull off a turn 1 Chaos Wheel. So let's see if we can definitely pull that off. I'm wondering, okay, so my opponent starts Darkrai Giratina. I mean, that's a very, very good start for them. That's exactly the type of start you want with a Darkrai Giratina deck. Just because, I mean, you can power up energy onto the Darkrai, then you can put the Double Dragon onto the Giratina. My opponent's even starting to play items, and if I can start Chaos Wheeling, my opponent won't be able to play Double Dragon, and oh boy. We see the Parallel City, which could be very, very bad. First turn, actually. Okay, so this will be interesting. My opponent gets a very good start. I mean, that's a pretty darn good start. Start with a Darkrai Giratina and an Energy and a Parallel City and the Fighting Fury Belt. So that's what I'm going to do. Go ahead and Ultra Ball. I mean, I wanted to just Ultra Ball to get rid of the... I wanted to try to Ultra Ball to get rid of the... Yeah, you know what? I can't Hoopa at this point. I just have to bank on the fact that I'll draw into some of those cards. And okay, I get a Sycamore. Okay, if I can hit both of these Max Elixir, then I will be in a great position. Okay, I hit one. Can I hit the other? No, I don't. Darn it. Well, yeah, crap. So I am just going to discard that Fire Energy. I get a Reshiram, and I would have liked to have gotten a Sky Field anywhere. No, okay. Darn it. But what I can do, cannot play the Parallel City down because apparently you can't discard a stadium with the same stadium. Although I think they should change that mechanic if you have stuff like Parallel City, Chaos Tower, Reverse Valley. I will be able to bring in my opponent's Giratina, and then I'll be able to Turbo Blaze with my Reshiram onto my Giratina, and then I will have a manual attachment for the turn as well, which, I mean, yeah, let's just go ahead and play that onto the Reshiram, end the turn there. I can via Seeker for a Sycamore next turn, and then I can Chaos Wheel. So I wasn't able to get the Chaos Wheel off turn 1, but even despite a relatively bad overall start by this deck's standards, I was still able to... Okay, he gets the Special Energy. This is very not good. Very, very not good. Because my opponent is powering up his stuff and Lysandering in... What's he... Okay, getting another Hydreigon. Bringing in my Hydreigon again. That's okay. That's fine. I am just going to Sycamore. Hopefully get an Enter or a Switch or another Hydreigon or something. Okay, the Switch works. Let's play the Fighting Fury Belt onto my Giratina so that my opponent's Giratina will have to 3-shot me. Let's go ahead and play the Double Dragon onto my Giratina, switch into it, and I'm keeping that last spot open for another Hydreigon if all my opponent is able to do is Lysandre stall me. So, slow start by myself and my opponent. However, I'm clearly able to get things going faster, and my opponent will not be able to Chaos Wheel this turn because I'm keeping him from attaching Special Energy from his hand. Or, okay, I guess he just will switch into his Darkrai. He'll be able to hit for a good amount of damage if he has another Darkness Energy in his hand. So, via Seeker, what's he going to do? Lysandre again? Is he just going to try to Lysandre a bunch of stuff? I mean, he's probably trying to... Yeah, I guess he's trying to Lysandre stall with the Hydreigon, but I mean, again, I have my Sycamore. I have a Sycamore in hand. I am going to play another Giratina down. Go ahead and play that there. And then Sycamore away the rest of my hand. Hopefully drawn to a Sky Field or something. Good lord. Nothing. Okay, Trainers Mail. There we go. There we go. There's the Sky Field. I was about to say, I mean, I should have drawn into that at some point, and then what I can even do is Fighting Fury Belt, the other Giratina, Ultra Ball, get rid of the Energy and one of my Giratinas just because I really don't think I'll need 3 of them. Grab the Hoopa to be able to grab the Hydreigon and a Shaymin to get some more draw support. So, I mean, we're blowing through my deck, honestly, at this point. It's not a huge deal, actually, at all, because I'm getting everything I need, everything I could want. Let's Hydreigon there, Shaymin there, get 4 more cards. My Hydreigon now has free retreat. I can go back into my Darkrai. It's Trainers Mail, see if we can get like a Max Elixir or something. Nope, we don't get that, but let's just grab a Ranger in case my opponent's somehow able to pull off a Chaos Wheel and put me in danger. And then, okay. Opponent concedes again. I would have been able to retreat into my Giratina and then 2-shot my opponent's Darkrai. Even if he had drawn in energy, he would not have been able to knock me out with Dark Pulse or put me in range of even a Chaos Wheel from my opponent's Giratina, just because Fighting Fury Belt kept me out of that range. So that is exactly how this deck is supposed to work, and I'm sorry I wasn't able to get too great of matches. However, you still saw how this deck works, how fast it is, and that's kind of what you get when you run a fast deck. So thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff, and this is Styx signing out. Why not? See you guys.